Can we make a veggie burrito for under $2? Let's find out.
Who doesn't love some great Mexican food? I know I do. We searched far and wide for the perfect vegetarian burrito recipe.
Found anything yet? Nothing yet, sir! How about you? Not a thing, sir!
And at long last, we found it.
It's burrito time, and this came out to a grand total of this much dollars.
We came across Joshua Weissman's $2 burrito recipe, and it looked perfect. The only problem is that it isn't vegetarian. But that's okay. In this video, we follow his recipe as closely as we can, but exclude the meat. We'll make several burritos and freeze them for later. His recipe indicates that you should be able to make 4 to 6 burritos.
Okay, so where do we start?
Here's what we'll need to buy: flour, baking powder, vegetable oil, medium grain rice, unsalted butter, cilantro, 4 limes, 4 onions, 8 jalapenos, 2 cans of black beans, hot sauce, 2 red peppers, garlic, mayonnaise, paprika, and cheddar cheese.
Yes, we're making our own tortillas, obviously. Why would we not?
I agree. Homemade tortillas are pretty tasty, and if we want to keep the price under $2, we should make our own.
To make the tortillas, we'll start by adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour into a bowl. Then add 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 2 teaspoons of salt, and then whisk it all together. Next, we need 1.5 cups of warm water. To that, add a half cup of vegetable oil. Then combine the oil and water with the dry ingredients. Knead for 2 to 5 minutes until it's smooth. Cover with plastic wrap and let sit for 30 minutes to an hour. We made enough dough to divide into 10 smaller balls. This should be big enough to make 9-inch or 10-inch tortillas. If they're any smaller, it could be a challenge wrapping them. Joshua suggested rolling out to a thickness of less than 1/4 inch. We found a thickness of 1/8 of an inch to be about right. Any thicker would make the burrito too doughy. If you have one, use an iron skillet to cook the tortillas. If you don't, a Teflon pan will work just fine too. Place the tortilla into the preheated pan, flip it over after about 30 seconds, and cook the other side for about 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, we have our tortillas made. Now we need to make the rice. Joshua suggested using a rice cooker, but we just cooked it in a pot and it worked just fine.
And guess what? Wash your goddamn rice. Wash it! Don't ask any more questions.
He insists on washing the rice. That's not something we normally do, but we'll try to follow his recipe. Add 2 cups of rice to a fine mesh strainer and give it a good wash. Add the rice to a medium-sized pot along with 3 cups of water. Add 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Stir the rice thoroughly. The recipe indicates adding salt to taste. We added 1 teaspoon. Chop half a cup of cilantro and add it to the rice. Add juice from 2 freshly squeezed limes. Stir again until everything is combined. Next, we make the bean mix. Add 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter to a medium saucepan on medium heat. Once the butter is melted, add 2 large chopped onion. Add 4 chopped jalapeno peppers. Add 2 cans of black beans. Add 4 tablespoons of hot sauce. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. Let it cook and stir occasionally until the veggies begin to soften. Next, we make the veggie mix. In a medium-sized bowl, add 2 sliced red peppers, 3 large sliced onions, 4 sliced jalapeno peppers, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Cook on medium-high and mix the veggies occasionally for 3 to 5 minutes until they're lightly charred and just starting to soften. After the veggies are pretty much done, add in the 4 cloves of finely chopped garlic. To make the aioli sauce, add 2 cups of mayonnaise into a bowl. Add 2 tablespoons of paprika. Add 4 tablespoons of hot sauce. Add 4 tablespoons of lime juice. Add 6 cloves of grated garlic. We used a garlic press. Add 1 teaspoon of salt and mix everything together until it's thoroughly combined. Okay, now is the big moment. It's time to make the burritos. Start with a base of rice. Add the bean mixture. Then add a layer of veggies. Add a drizzle of the aioli sauce. And then a final layer of grated cheese. To wrap the burrito, grab the sides with your fingers, hold the back edge away from you, and tuck it into the front. It's a little tricky at first, but you'll be a pro before you know it. Our goal was to make all of the burritos to be 250 grams. That should work out to about 400 to 500 calories, which is a good meal size. It turns out that we overestimated the ingredients by a fair bit. We doubled the recipe thinking we would get no more than 10 burritos, but in the end we had enough to make 22. Although we did have to make 12 more tortillas. If we did it again, I think we would double the recipe for the tortillas, but not the rest. We showed earlier how much was spent on groceries, but how much did it actually cost to make each burrito? Let's break it down. After figuring out exactly how much of each ingredient was used, we determined that the cost to make 22 burritos was $40.23. That works out to $1.83 per burrito. If we want to know what the cost is in US dollars, we can calculate using today's exchange rate of 0.74. The cost per wrap would be $1.35 US. That's pretty impressive.
Good.
It's really good and I made a mess.
All right, so let's start with taste. What did you think of the taste?
I think really good. It's spicy. It's got enough heat.
It's hot, but it's not too hot.
Yeah,
I think it's
it
just
is
right.
hot. A lot of jalapenos.
Yeah.
A lot of hot
When we
sauce.
were making it, I was worried that it would be too hot.
Yeah.
Because we were adding a lot of jalapenos and a lot of hot sauce.
I just felt like I was cutting up jalapenos willy-nilly, and they were way too many.
It seemed like a lot.
Yeah. But it was fine.
Yeah. So the taste is really good.
Taste is great.
Right. It's got the right amount of salt and spice in it.
Surprisingly, yeah. Good spice.
Yeah. Okay, so we didn't put the meat in.
No, not this
So
batch.
what did you think of that? I know I'm a vegetarian, you're not.
Yeah, I know. I think I'd prefer it with chicken. A chicken with a lot of the hot sauce would be really good, but I like the bean too. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I was worried that without the chicken that it may there might be a void.
Yeah, not give it enough
Yeah, but it
filling.
but yeah, it's good. It turned out really well.
No.
Okay, so we went with 250 grams as the size.
Perfect. It's a perfect.
And I think it's a good meal size. So 250 grams is about 400 to 500 calories.
Yes, I think if you were looking for a bigger dinner, maybe you'd have 2, but for lunch, definitely 1 is fine.
Yeah.
And easy to heat up. We froze them and
Yeah.
heat up fine.
So it could be that in Joshua's video, maybe the size was a bit bigger
Oh
than
yeah,
that. But
I think
for
so.
me, I think this is the right size. And it would have been more difficult to wrap
I think
if
we
it was any bigger. So the recipe indicated that we would get 4 to 6 servings,
Yeah, we got a lot of servings.
but we got a lot.
a lot.
And
got
what
a
we
lot of
actually
them.
did is doubled up the recipe, but we maybe didn't need to.
No, we didn't need to double the recipe at all. We had a lot of filling and needed more tortillas.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huge
so
amount.
we
These are
ended up
huge.
with 22 burritos.
Yeah.
So I think in hindsight, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably double up the tortilla recipe, but not the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Make
and
20
then shoot
tortillas.
for like 10 instead of 22. Yeah.
That's a lot of burritos
That's
to
a
be putting in the freezer. Yeah.
So what about the tortillas? So you did the wrapping. So how was the tortillas?
You know, that tortilla, I've tried a different recipe using shortening, and this one had vegetable oil. Really nice, easy recipe for tortillas. I mean, we live in Canada. I don't make tortillas very often, but I would do that again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they turned it really well.
they turned
Super
it nice.
easy.
They taste great.
Yeah.
They're
Very
just
fun.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too for the tortillas, the recipe indicated that they should be under a quarter of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say
Yeah.
they should be closer to an eighth of an inch or
Thinner,
even thinner.
very thin.
Pretty much
very
as thin as you can get.
But
Because if it was
yeah.
any thicker, the burrito would be very
Oh.
doughy.
it'd be too bulky. I think you had to. My preference, yeah, really thin and larger tortillas.
So the cost
Oh yeah.
ended up being $1.83,
That's really good.
which is really good. Because I was thinking if we were only going to get maybe 10 out of it, there's no way we would hit $2. But we got 22 burritos, and it works out to $1.83.
really nice ingredients too.
Yeah, really
Lime,
fresh
really
ingredients,
fresh,
nice
yeah.
ingredients, healthy ingredients.
Mhm.
So conclusions.
I'm making these again. I think A+.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, and I would add chicken to another batch
Yeah,
for
that's
myself.
a good idea.
Oh, it's really good.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
I'll have my baked it, okay?
Can we make a Can we make a $2 burrito for under